Dear Medgar, since you went to heaven, you would be pleased and amazed at the number of people that have joined the freedom struggle. Many people in Jackson, Canton, Greenwood, Biloxi, Gulfport, Mosport, Pascagoula, Clarksdale, Greenville, Newton County, Starkville, and all over the state have really come alive in the cause of freedom. Many of us are just learning what you tried so hard to teach us, that freedom is everybody's business. It would please you also to know that all the civil rights organizations in Mississippi are working together and putting over a program that you would be proud to participate in. Remember the organization that you and Bob Moses and I worked on and named the Council of Federated Organizations, the organization that brought together the Mississippi-based workers of the NAACP, CORE, SCLC, and SNCC. Well, we are all working hard to make sure that the unity movement is a success. Medgar, we will never forget what you meant to all of us. Your dedication to freedom was so well understood that everyone respected you. To the freedom movement, you were hope, success, and encouragement, all in one dynamic package. Many of us complained of the hours we put in now, but your schedule makes all of us look like schoolboys. I should never forget your courage and determination the night that you, Mrs. Hurley, Dr. Bethel, and several more of us went to investigate the Emmett Till slaying. Remember the people we found that were willing to talk on the witness stand only if we could get them out of Mississippi immediately following the trial. Remember the all-night drive we took the day the trial was over to place these people on safe ground? I remember well the first time I saw you cry. The night was at a freedom banquet for the state conference of the NAACP in Jackson, when you were trying to present an appreciation certificate to the mother of Clyde Kennard, a young student that was being held in the state penitentiary. His only crime was trying to become a student at Mississippi Southern University. Anyway, as you tried to read the citation, you began to shake and cry. I tried to take over for you, and you said, "Now, Prexy, I want to finish this." And you did go on to finish it. I was never so glad to see you as I was that morning in the Cleveland, Mississippi jail, where I was booked on a crazy morals charge. On the morning you, attorney R. Jess Brown, Mr. Drew, Mr. Hackett, Dr. Burden, Mr. J.W. Wright, and several more of our good friends came into the jail and told the jailer, "You came for me." The jailer was really funny. He did not know what charges there were against me, nor who had filed the charges. He promised to send Attorney Brown a copy of the charge in the mail the next day. I should never forget you placing your arms around my shoulders and saying, "Prexy, let's go home." Man, I relive incidents with you all the time. The number of cases it was my privilege to investigate with you, the number of legal acts we filed, and the number of meetings we made around the state and around the nation. I will never forget, as you cannot, the night of June 11, 1963. After the meeting, we sat comparing notes for our testimony before the House Judiciary Committee that was to be given on the 14th of June. We were trying not to duplicate testimony, as we both had witnessed the same things. I left for the airport and you left going home. I went on to Houston, Texas to address the Texas Pharmaceutical Association, and you went home. That night, as you were going home, Mrs. Evers had permitted Daryl Kenyatta, Rena Denise, and James Van Dyke to wait up for you, since they did not have much time with you as you were so busy with the movement of freedom. Just the day before, you, Mrs. Mercedes Wright, and I had been driving down the streets of Jackson to see how many Negro shoppers were downtown. We came upon a group of white men dressed in bright, colorful uniforms that we were informed were Shrine or Shriners' uniform. One of these fellows borrowed a policeman's blackjack and began to beat the head of a Negro in a car parked in the street, and the policeman just looked on. And when the man in the bright color uniform had finished, he gave the stick back to the policeman and the Negro fella finally got the car in gear and drove away in a hurry. We were critical of the Negro for permitting himself to be beaten and not strike back. But we were even more critical of the policeman who loaned the white man his stick and stood there and watched it all. On the morning of June 12th in a hotel in Houston, Texas, I turned on the Today Show to hear what Lena Horne had to say. I'd heard that she would be on the show that day, and when she came on, there was Roy Wilkins sitting beside her and your picture on the top of the screen. And I said to myself, old Medgar's in the news again. Then I heard the announcer say that Miss Horne was on the show and that Roy Wilkins had been invited due to the tragic death of Medgar Evers. The tragic death of Medgar Evers last night in Mississippi. He said a high-powered rifle bullet had torn out your heart. I cannot tell you how shaken I was, Medgar. But I remember that you had always said that no matter what happened to either of us, the other must carry on. I knew that the next day I would have to present your testimony too before the House Judiciary Commission. Since you have been gone, I've tried to do the things I felt I had to do in the way I felt you would have done. To me, Medgar, when you fell, you fell forward, covering the full 6 feet and 2 inches of your body. You carried us that far down the road to freedom. We will never have to retrace those steps. I hope that if it is my privilege to fall in my tracks for the noble cause of freedom, that I too will fall forward and thus do my best to close the gap between man and freedom. I know that no one can never give any more to the cause of freedom than you gave. Thank you, Medgar, for freeing me. For now, I too am willing to give the final measure. May God keep you in his tender mercy and give to you peace and satisfaction for the great contribution you made toward bringing the kingdom of God on his earth